I wanted to think the reason I started working on my yard had nothing to do with Bryce. It was only about making our house look better. After what he did with the eggs, why should I care what he thought about anything? But I did.
Are you pruning that or trying to hack it to death? I'm Chet Duncan, Bryce's grandfather. Sorry it's taking me so long to come over and introduce myself.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So are you trimming all these to the same height?
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I don't know. Do you think it would look better just to take them out?
Oh, these are hickshoe shrubs. These will prune up nicely.
Listen, Mr. Duncan.
Call me Chet.
Chet, if you're here because of what Bryce said, I don't need your help.
What about you in the paper? Renee would have sat up in that tree with you. She would have sat up there all night.
Renee?
My wife. You remind me a lot of her.
Hello everyone, I'm going to talk about cultural aspects and pragmatic characteristics I've found in the scene I've chosen. The first one I want to talk about is gardening in America. So I'm going to compare American gardening culture with Korean gardening culture. In the scene, Julie is gardening. Julie decided to make a garden because Bryce's family, in particular Bryce's father and Bryce, mocked Julie's family's ugly and untidy garden. So Julie was very hurt. Then why does Bryce's family, in particular Bryce's father, feel unhappy about Julie's garden and blame Julie's father not taking care of the garden? I'm thinking about the reasons. According to my research, American people's favorite pastime is gardening. So making a garden or taking good care of the garden is one of the house owner's responsibility. If people do not mow the lawn, leaving it completely outgrown, this may be against local ordinances, local law. And I've found lots of community gardening associations, bloggers sharing gardening ideas, and books or magazines on gardening by surfing internet. I think Americans really enjoy gardening. And have you ever heard of the idiomatic expression green thumb? This means a natural skill for gardening and a person with skill. This expression really is one of a reflection of Western people's love for gardening. Americans love gardening and have their gardens outside, but Korean people have indoor garden. We Korean people also love to grow plants, but because we live in apartment complex, we usually have indoor gardens. So we often see lots of Korean people have indoor flower pots in the living room or in the balcony. The second thing I've found in the scene is the presence of the walls around the houses. In America, ordinary houses have no walls around the houses. Trees or bushes in their garden form the division between private lands and public roads. On the other hand, in Korea, we usually have walls around the houses so that so that strangers cannot look into someone else's house. But in the scene I've chosen, Bryce's grandfather could approach Julie very easily because there were no walls to prevent him from going inside. And whenever I watch American soap operas or movies, I can easily find houses in an American community have no walls. Gardens and roads forms the boundary between houses. And the last thing I want to talk about relating to culture is calling somebody by first name. In the scene, Chad and Julie met first. So Julie called Bryce's father Chad because Bryce's grandfather asked Julie to call him Chad, not Mr. Duncan. So Julie really called him Chad. She called him by his first name. This is very distinct cultural difference between Korea and America. In Korea, calling old people by their first name is very rude. So some of the Korean people may be surprised or shocked because Julie called Bryce's grandfather Chad, not Mr. Duncan. In Korean society, we cannot call our boss, parents, teachers, or seniors by their first name because this is considered very impolite, and it is impossible. But in American society, it is possible, and it will be okay. Quite interesting differences, isn't it? Now I'm going to talk about the characteristic of pragmatics revealed in the scene. First, I've noticed greeting sequence in the scene, in particular when people first meet. In the scene, Bryce's grandfather Chad and Julie met first. Even though they were old neighbors, they had no opportunity to greet each other and talk to each other. So Chad approached her and introduced himself like this. Hello, my name is Chad Duncan. I'm Bryce's grandfather. Even though his approach is very suddenly happened, Julie responded, nice to meet you. This is a very typical greeting sequence. Julie did not respond like this, who are you, or I don't know who you are. And second, when Chad asked Julie, are you trimming all these to the same height? Julie hesitated to answer, saying, well. You know, well is one of the typical discourse marker used in America. And the third, when Chad started to explain how to trim, right after finishing introducing himself, Julie interrupted him, saying, listen. At this moment, Julie looked very formed. This is preempt signals, I think. And she said she didn't need his help. Even though Chad is very old person, Julie turned down his offer directly. If they were Korean people, Chad would be very angry at her rejection. Next, when Chad brings up his wife's name, Renee, Julie looked very confused because she does not know who she is. So Julie's response is like this. Renee, her facial expressions and raising the voice tone display that she does not know who Renee is. And at this moment, I think Chet raised the maximum quantity. I think he should have let Julius know who Renee is before mentioning about her wife Renee. And finally, I've noticed ellipses in the middle of the conversation. Before talking about Chet's wife Renee, Chet says like this, read about you in the paper. I think something is eliminated in the sentence. Do you know what it is? I have is eliminated in the scene. Originally, the sentence should be, I have read about you in the paper, but I have is eliminated. Even though this is eliminated in the sentence, there seems to no problem in the conversation. And at this moment, Chet again breaks the maximum of relevance because right before he talking about Renee, they were talking about gardening. But suddenly, Chet changed the topic and brings up the news article about Julie. So I think she broke the maximum of relevance, and he did not responded Julie's rejection. That's it, and I hope you will enjoy my presentation, and I hope my presentation will show how well I understand cultural lectures, and I hope you enjoy. I hope you see, you guys, the entire movie flipped. Julie and Bryce are really adorable. And if you have any questions or about the presentation, post your questions on the discussion board, and I will welcome it. Thank you for listening.